So this video is all about how we can actually create goals for ourselves for the year to come. And the way I see it is that there are two things. One is actually fulfilling our dreams, which means fulfilling our goals and making our goals. Another thing is time management, which actually means scheduling our weeks and our months and our days. But there are two separate topics. Today, I want to actually focus on the goal setting part, the part where we actually think big vision, we actually get excited. This is for people who are like me, big dreams, high expectations, and holding a particular standard for ourselves. If you know, you know. If you come from an Asian household, if you come from an Eastern household, where you are either you or your parents have migrated from one country to another, or you're actually in your own home country yourself, you know that fulfilling goals and achieving them, and this whole idea of having high expectations is so ingrained in our upbringing that, at this point, I've actually learned to kind of live with them. Not in an unhealthy way, but in an appreciative way. Setting goals and thinking ahead for the new year is about setting a bigger vision and also setting a series of goals or projects around the vision or the dream that you have. And how do we go from now, where we might be thinking about the year ahead and we are feeling anxious or worried or have a lot of self-doubt or overwhelmed about where we want to start, to feeling a little less anxious and feeling a little bit like we know what we're doing, to actually feeling confident and excited. My first point is to remember that we are artists, we are creatives. So to build a life of our dreams, to develop goals and projects that we want to work on, to set those sort of milestones should actually be a creative thing to do. We should have fun with it, just like any of the artistic project that we work on. For me, just like any painting that I work on, it should be fun. It shouldn't feel like someone is like holding you down and asking you, peering over your shoulder to write down series of goals and what to do for the day and week and year, and to be so rigid that you don't have any room to play. It should be the opposite of that. And that, I think, is the first mindset that has helped me to develop, is the fact that, throughout the year, we have the ability to be flexible. We have the ability to change. We have the authority to assert ourselves in any direction that we want, where we can actually pivot. And having that, I think, as artists who are so creative and have so many interests and don't like to be boxed in, having that sort of safety mindset, I'd like to call it, and preparation is actually a good thing. The thing is, like, we should have fun, right? So that means we allow ourselves to ask questions and we allow ourselves to get curious, because you know as well as I do that in any creative project that you work on, two fundamental elements that allow any creative project to thrive, or any fun that we have in our artistic creation, is because we had fun. It's because we were curious. It's because we asked questions like, what if I do this? What if I paint this in this color? What happens? And having this sort of mentality, open ourselves up to dream and to create and to be in that space of creation. So we are only in December now. And back in, I think it was around September, October time, I allowed myself to actually just create some notes on the Notes app on my iPhone. And I want to share not the actual goals itself, but I want to share the headlines, because what was happening to me was I started to actually think about what I wanted to do more of this year. And I realized that I had too many damn ideas and too many things that I wanted to do or haven't done yet or haven't completed. And a part of me realized that I was going to get some done this year, but not all of them. And it was just a practical way for me to offload all of those sort of thoughts and ideas. But this then evolved into actually splitting it into different categories. And I actually allowed myself to do a similar thing of asking questions and getting curious. So by having that sort of mindset and opening myself up energetically meant that I was getting ideas throughout my days, my weeks, my months, where things would come to me where I realized, oh, I actually want to work on that and try that out, like in the near future. Or I'm actually really curious about this. So this is what I did. I actually wrote down goals for the rest of 2024 and 2025. And these are not particularly time specific, but I actually ended up splitting it down into different categories because, like I said, I was having too many damn ideas and too many things that I wanted to improve on and work on. So the first one is daily. So these are the things that I want to do more consistently on a daily basis. The second one is projects. So project might be developing a portfolio of paintings or updating my website. So things that actually fall under categories of mini projects to large projects where I knew that it was going to take maybe more than 1 month to do. Skills was another topic. So skills that I wanted to get better at, for example, it could be better communication skills. And don't forget, it doesn't necessarily have to be to do with your profession or your artistic practice, because it could be personal. But don't forget that life feeds back into art and art feeds back into life. So everything is cyclical. So don't constrain yourself to thinking that this has to be just for your work. Don't make it so serious. But if you ever get curious about a part of yourself that you want to work on, a skill that you want to develop, just because you think it's going to be fun, put it down. The other thing was mindset and social approach. So I am a recovering people pleaser. And because of that, a lot of the things that I wrote down in this category was to do with my approach on social basis when I'm with people or connecting with people, and the mindset that I wanted to build and continue to have. And the last one is life enjoyment. So things that make me feel like I'm having fun. For me, like I love dancing, and I was doing so much of dancing in the past, but I haven't been doing much of that at all in the past 2 years. So I wrote down, I would like to do some more dancing. So let me sort of summarize it. Daily projects, skills, mindset and social approach, life enjoyment. So these are the things that I wrote down in my notes app, and I would just add to them. Whenever I had a thought, I would add to this, and this is how my list for goals grew. This is all I have so far. I haven't really gotten into writing in a journal or writing down in a diary or anything like that, because I think that links back into the time management and scheduling part. Just giving myself the space to think and to dream and to get curious is actually such a fun process. I don't want to constrain myself too quickly into one idea or one thing, because time is a really big factor in everything we do. And a lot of the times we think we don't have time, but we do have time. And we can actually allow ourselves to take a step back. It's December, the year hasn't ended, and if you want, you can even take this sort of practice into January without rushing so quickly into building goals and building your life for the next whole year. By January, you can take your time, because remember, like, you have the power. you have the power to assert yourself in the direction that you want to, because you are a creative person. You have the power with your hands, you have the power with your mind. And if there's anything that I want you to take away from this video, is that. What I'll probably do over the Christmas break is I'm going to review that list, revisit it, think about it, relax on it, and I'm going to actually break those goals down into quarterly goals, because it has to be manageable, it has to work in the time span that I think I can do it, and it has to be flexible. And quarterly goals are great because I don't know about you, but I get bored very easily. So for me to have a different goal every 3 months is great, because that allows me to get really excited to do something new for the next 3 months instead of feeling like life is a slog. Even if I know that life isn't a slog, it's just how my brain works. And I think a lot of creative people also feel like that. So I hope sharing that with you helps. What have we done? We've actually gone from feeling anxious to feeling curious and asking questions to actually feeling excited, because we've asked questions like, what if I do this? What if I do that? So now we actually have distilled what we have into our minds into something physical, like an iPhone, which is so easy to, type stuff on your phone, and it actually feels a little bit less formal as well, which I like. So now we have something more tangible. We have some notes that we've made. We have some random thoughts that we've recorded. And that to me is the whole basis and foundation of setting a vision and setting goal. There are so many different parts to goal setting, and I just want to share my experience. The last point that I want to make is make it yours. You are the artist. You are the creative. Like, I share because sometimes it helps me to distill my own process, but also because if you are like me and you're going through a similar thing, I thought that sharing this might actually help someone, anyone. Don't take my word and take it as gold. If anything, you shouldn't take it as gold. I want you to experiment with it, make it, change it, mold it to make it yours. Because I think goal setting and scheduling and time management and all these sorts of things is an extension of our creative practice. It's something that we can have fun with. It's something that we can evolve and adapt and change and grow as we change and grow. Because guess what? We're humans and we are constantly growing and changing and developing. And we are artists. And artists are so changeable in nature. And I'm talking about myself here, but I know that it applies to so many other creatives. We don't like living a life of mundane sameness. We like to dream, and we like to be philosophical, be poetic, be artistic. We see lens through the eyes of the artist who appreciates every single moment. So because of that, sometimes doing things like scheduling can feel like such a chore, can feel like it is that, mother or father figure or a authority figure having a peer over our shoulder and telling us to do X, Y, and Z, because that's how society has mostly been built. That's how we have mostly been taught by teachers or by our parents or by any other authority figures that we have come across. So it's hard for us to actually realize that we do have the authority to assert ourselves in the creative directions that we want to take. I think that's all I have for this topic. I hope it helped. I hope I didn't ramble too much. Do you like these type of videos? Because if you do, then I can share some more. And if you have any particular questions that you have around this topic or subtopic, let me know, and I will see you in the next one. See ya. Rally the troops for another refrain. I sing this softly to
myself. I sing this soft